Now, for the second leg of discussions on the program this morning, we're being joined virtually by Abdullahi Yusuf Sale, JP, who is a development consultant with 20 years plus in humanitarian work, specializing in M&E and financial management. He holds advanced degrees and certifications in accounting, human rights, and data science. A member of ANAN and other professional bodies, he serves as General Secretary of SMEN, FCT Coordinator of CSACEFA, and the Director at WACSUF. He is also the founder of ERESI and a consultant for global organizations. A very good morning to you, Mr. Aliyu. It's wonderful to have you join us on the program this morning.
Good morning, sir. It's good to be with you.
Well, quite a portfolio there you have. It's firstly, let's delve into matters with regards to the People's Democratic Party and the BOT meeting that is scheduled to hold today. What should Nigerians be expecting, particularly supporters of the PDP, with regards to the lingering internal crisis that has been rocking the party?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. Discussing PDP at this time can be a very dicey thing because PDP has been enmeshed in a lot of complexities. I feel sorry for the party because over time we have seen quite a lot of issues that have degenerated into the party being disintegrated. Let me use that word, disintegrated, and I use it very cautiously. Because as it is right now, they've lost their footing, and they're at a loss as to what will happen. Quite interesting that there's going to be a meeting today, a BOT meeting, and a lot is being expected. However, I do not think it will be different from the norm. Nothing might change significantly because there is a deliberate ploy to wipe off PDP from the list of parties that exist. And there is a mole within the PDP that is working very hard and deliberately to ensure that that is being achieved. And for the fact that he's being backed by a government that has all the resources, that is desperate, that is willing to do everything possible to ensure that they remain in power, I feel very sorry for the PDP. Though that's not the only party that has issues, I think it's a Nigerian problem. We're yet to get things right, but PDP members should not expect anything different from what has been happening. Rather, let's be hopeful that there will be light at the end of the tunnel.
Now, when you say that there is a mole in the People's Democratic Party, do you care to substantiate on that? A mole planted by who, and for what reason?
It's in the public domain. Everybody knows what's happening. Except in Nigeria, I do not know where one sits in two parties and decides what happens. You know, and he's comfortable. It seems there's a problem with our electoral act. It seems there's a problem with the electoral umpire. However, we all know that some aggrieved members of the PDP who have not officially left the party are still within the party and are hell-bent on ensuring that the party doesn't make progress. More so that they have found a new home somewhere where they're very comfortable and are willing to do everything possible to remain relevant within the political space. Therefore, I feel sorry. It started with the G5, where the G5 expressed their displeasure on what happened during the congresses and decided to pitch their tent with others. We know of the minister of the FCT who has refused to leave and has remained within and is working for the opposition party. I make bold to say that. And many others like Daniel Bwala who have left and will certainly want to remain relevant within the space because for them, that is their survival strategy. So we wait to see what happens at the end of the day.
Now, Mr. Abdullahi, ahead of the 2027 general polls, there have been talks about maybe coalitions being formed, perhaps between the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, or even the NNPP, you know, chaired by Kwankwaso at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, but also a recent statement made by Waziri Tambuwal is rather very disturbing. Now, he said that rigging plans already unfolding ahead of 2027. Now, while on one hand, the APC responded by saying that the People's Democratic Party conducted the worst elections in the history of Nigeria. Now, is this some sort of shield from making Nigerians look closely into what the APC plans ahead of 2027?
Well, you can never tell. When people are desperate for power, when people do not have any other business doing except either than that of, feeding from our collective resources, where there's no accountability, where people do not no longer care what happens. You should expect that, and you should expect anything. Yes, there have been calls for mergers. There have been calls for coming together of different regions or different ideologies. Let me put it that way. That's if we have ideologies within our systems. But then, for me, these have not been substantiated. I do understand that those that are agreed are moving across regions and states, negotiating with other people that seem to have a cloud. We cannot say that of a truth that these meetings will bring any significant progress, because even the APC is not sleeping. The APC is moving people back to themselves. I've heard of state governors that are waiting for time to move from the PDP because of the crisis. And because of the electoral law, which states that unless there's a crisis in the party, you cannot move. They will do everything to destabilize the parties so that people can have reason to move. Already, the red chamber is APC, and more of the senators and reps are all moving. The lawmakers are moving, largely because they are being oppressed, because they are being manipulated, because they are being all sorts of political strategies are being used to muzzle people, to have no other option but to move. Therefore, those that are not willing to join the APC, those that are aggrieved, that have lost out, like the Erufites, who have caused their problems, are moving across regions looking for where to pitch their tent. We do not know how it will look like, but I know that there will be surprises at the end of the day. I do not know what will happen with Labour Party, because the party itself has its issues. The NNP seems to be non-existent, even though they have a governor. So we're watching cautiously, and we just hope that Nigerians should know that they have the power. They decide what happens. Even though we were careless at some point, the electoral umpire took us for a ride, and it seems we are helpless. I can assure you that things can change.
Now,
we shouldn't.
Yeah, yes. Carry on.
Yeah, we shouldn't take Nigerians for a ride. Anything can happen. We have pushed them to the brink, and I can tell you that it would not be business as usual. So we are hopeful that we will get a savior from those mergers and from those discussions. That serious-minded politicians who have ideologies, not people that move because of their stomach, not people who will be here today and be there tomorrow, where it favors them because they take care of themselves. No, but people who have Nigeria at heart will come together and salvage us from this quagmire.
Now, Mr. Abdullahi, in as much as you have been very optimistic about, saving Nigeria and having really patriotic individuals within the political space coming to ensure that democracy is stabilized within the country. We recently saw a whooping 40,000 persons defection from other political parties, including the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, and even the NNPP that is domiciled in Kano State. moving from all these parties to the All Progressives Congress in Kano, where the APC National Party chairman, Alhaji Ganduje, welcomed them into the party. Also, in line with that, we saw a recent move by the APC, spearheaded by Ganduje, trying to woo the Plateau State Governor, Mr. Caleb Moftwang, to leave his party and join the All Progressives Congress. It appears that APC is performing a clean sweep ritual across the country. Is this detrimental to the People's Democratic Party, and is this detrimental to this sort of merger or coalition that you're calling for?
Well, exactly. You got it right. You captured it right. Everything you said is in the public space. Kano State had been APC. Ganduje should ask many questions. How he lost out in Kano to NNPP. Politics is dynamic. There are many complexities around politics that you cannot explain. At every point in time, people take decisions based on Nigerians take decisions based on the situation at hand. Today we have a very different kind of government. We have a different kind of governance. We have never had it this way. Let me put it, where you see the desperation in people around the corridors of power to retain power, and they won't stop at anything. I didn't do a head count of the number of people in Kano, and I doubt if they have a register to say that up to 40,000 people move. But certainly, those that are yet to be compensated, those that the largesse are not getting to them, will always show some sort of displeasure and take such steps. By the way, Nigerians love gatherings. So for the fact that people gather doesn't mean that all of them moved to the APC. However, we know that there is discontent among Nigerians who are suffering today because of the government policies, and so at everything they will do anything and everything. So coming out for a rally doesn't really mean that they moved. Yes, again, in the papers there are insinuations of the Plateau State Governor moving to the APC. I wouldn't dispute that, because as I said earlier, all the parties are canvassing for more, looking for more people, because they also know how they came into power. I am sure it's not by majority votes, so they need to work hard if they have to retain power. We are watching. It won't be surprising if governors keep moving, because even the PDP itself is unsettled, and if it continues like this with the rape, the courts raped the Plateau State, depriving them of representation by taking away our rightful votes, let me put it that way, and giving it to people who don't deserve it because of political reasons. Governors are afraid because they want to retain their seats. So people that do that, you know for sure, are not out for the interest of the people, rather for themselves. Otherwise, they stick to what they believe in. Do you believe in the ideologies of the APC? Do you believe in what the present government is doing? If you do, fine and good, you can move. It's left for the people to decide when they go to the polls, and if the electoral empire will be just, fair, and equitable during the election.
Now, Mr. Abdullahi, before we delve further into the issue of the internal crisis within the PDP, with two individuals, parading themselves as a national secretary of the party, the European Union recently committed 19 billion euros to Nigeria's democracy and good governance. Now, also citing that they won't meddle into Nigeria's internal politics. Now, while this has been met by optimism or goodwill from one end, other people are citing that this sort of funds might influence INEC's decision ahead of 2027 general polls, considering the fact that this funds is coming at a time when the ruling political party or the president is part of the All Progressives Congress, and it might sort of have damning effects ahead of the polls. Now, INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud, said that INEC doesn't receive direct funding from donors. How much of a truth is this? And should we believe Professor Yakubu when he says that INEC does not receive these donors, and it will not influence elections ahead of 2027?
Well, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu is a character of his own. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu has overseen the affairs of the Electoral Monitoring Board for some time. We have seen his antecedents and his antics. We know very well who he is. You can choose to believe him or not, but then it's in the public domain that we've been receiving funds and assistance from development partners. They have trained our people. They have provided equipment which we didn't justify. We can't justify. We couldn't use the BVM during the elections. So now that EU has set aside monies, we do not know for what specifically. But then INEC cannot survive without funding. Yes, they get funds directly from the Consolidated Revenue Funds, which they use for their operations. But then development partners are interested in the growth of democracy in developing countries, including Nigeria in Africa. So it's not out of place to say that funding has come in for that. The biggest problem is our level of sincerity. It is our patriotism to our country. Monies can come from anywhere. If the person saddled with responsibility of managing the funds has a good heart, is patriotic, then he would use the funds as they should be used. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, we have a government in place today that will not stop at anything to retain power. Therefore, whether funds come from development partners, whether they are trained, whether equipment are provided, the fact remains that you have a government that is that has a questionable character. We saw all that happened during the elections, where monies were moved, even from the airports. We have them, it's there on social media. We knew how much delegates were paid. We knew the intimidation that went on. We knew the issues that other political parties raised with evidence and how it went. We were told to go to court. And after that, the person was shielded, and we heard all that transpired with regards to their relationship, with politicians. They are Nigerians. They live within the space. They also have to survive. Except they have integrity, you should expect anything. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Let's now talk about the People's Democratic Party's internal crisis, especially at the leadership level, with the issue of who the national chairman is and the embattled demagogue. Also, this has been worsened by disputes over the national secretary position, where we had the PDP's Southeast Zone nominating former national youth leader Sunday Odeokoye to replace Anyanwu after he emerged as the party's governing candidate for the Imo State election. Now, the issue has been in court, and it appears that it is one of the major things that the Board of Trustees intends to discuss today at the meeting. In your perspective, who should be, or at the moment, who is the eligible PDP national secretary between Anyanwu and, of course, Odeokoye?
Thank you very much. I think you're dragging me into
just your point.
Murky waters, where I do not want to get stuck. These issues are very contentious. You have to go to a root cause if you have to find a solution to this.
All right.
It's not something that you can just just make sweeping statements. No. Unfortunately, I have a soft spot for PDP. I was mentored and taught by Chief Solomon Lad. In those days, I was there when PDP started. I was part of those that worked for the formation of PDP in Plateau State. I saw patriotism within the ranks of those that started the party. Talking about people like Abubakar Ribi, talking about people like Olusola Saraki, Philip Shaibu from Kogi, and many others whom I've met in Solomon's lifestyles. Yes, and I know of the Eradua factor, people of integrity. In Plateau State, we have Yahya Konde, we have people like Atiku Abubakar. Many other people came to join them. Now, that's the biggest challenge with the challenge with opening up your house to just anybody because you are looking for the numbers. Many other people came to join them thereafter and came in with their own ideologies. They didn't buy into the ideology of the founding fathers of the PDP. The PDP has changed, it has evolved over time. And I tell you, the PDP of today is not the PDP that you knew 20 years ago when Chief Solomon Lam and Alex Opema and others were in charge. It's quite unfortunate. And today, I cannot tell what to expect because people of questionable character are still within the party and the courts have allowed it because the courts are also beneficiaries of the rotten system. They are there to ensure that those in power perpetuate themselves and remain in power. And therefore, I do not know what to expect today because the courts are the ones that decide, not the people. I can sit here and make my insinuations and tell you my computations based on the Constitution or whatever, but the courts will finally be the ones to decide. And I tell you what, these people that are there doing all of this, they know what they're doing. They're being paid to do that. They're not doing it from the CCR. They're being sponsored by somebody. And that's why today this morning
but Mr. Abdullahi, the court has already ruled that Senator Anyanwu should remain as the PDP's national secretary until the issue is resolved. Do you
What do we do? What do you expect? What do you want? What do you want? Do we go against the courts?
Well, certainly not. But it appears that there are people within the PDP that are going against the ruling of the appellate court.
Well, again, I think it's to question the courts if people still have confidence in them, because if the courts were what they should be, nobody should go against any court order. And the party itself should say, this is high time. We sit together and find out a mechanism that will work for us. But I tell you what, because of the mole in the party, because of those who are hell-bent on ensuring that the party doesn't survive, this will not work. I tell you what, I think my best bet is a third force, another party that will neither be here or there. Probably it will be allowed to thrive. But for the PDP, I'm afraid it's already in a casket, waiting to be buried, except if God delivers them.
Now, Abdullahi, you speak from an angle of a stalwart PDP supporter, yet it appears that you yourself, you've lost confidence in the lifeline of PDP at the moment, being that the internal crisis has eaten deep into the fabrics of the party. Are we seeing a disintegration of the People's Democratic Party anytime soon, considering the fact that large elephants continue to fight within the party, thereby trampling on ants and grass within the party who are getting tired of all of this?
You captured it right by saying big elephants are fighting within the party. That's what is happening. And they are not ready at any point of time to give up. Some people are being paid heavily to cause confusion within the party, because PDP is the next biggest party. How they lost it is one thing I cannot explain. How they lost it to APC is what I cannot explain. And yet, to redeem PDP is becoming a problem, even though I tell you what, the larger majority of Nigerians seem to favor PDP. They seem to tilt towards the ideologies of PDP. They seem to accept the policies of PDP, and they benefited more during the PDP. The sufferings of Nigerians increased when PDP took over, APC took over government. So yes, you said it right. The infighting will not change except if the electoral empire and the courts do what they are supposed to do by ensuring that only those that are within the party take decisions for the party. Although I keep hearing people saying they have not left. You cannot be within the party and work for another party. Work not just at a lower level, at other level. You have a say in that party. You know what is happening. Everybody knows what is happening. And I have lost hope. I've lost hope largely because there's little I can do. And I can see that those whom we have given the powers to run things for us also seem to be helpless. They are now also tilted towards their own stomach. And I'm afraid that in the coming days, PDP will only exist because somebody is benefiting from the existence of the party, but not because it's going to do any good for its followers.
Oh, all right, Mr. Abdullahi, I might have to hold you there with regards to the PDP's internal crisis. I will still come back to you to discuss that, but I want you to be on the line. There is a breaking news with regards to, the breakaway of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso from the ECOWAS, which had an expiry date of today. News here says that the three junta-led West African nations of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have formally withdrawn from the regional bloc known as ECOWAS. Now, the body said Wednesday, today, the culmination of a year-long process during which the group tried to avert its unprecedented disintegration. Their withdrawal, first announced a year ago, has become effective today, ECOWAS said in a statement. The bloc, however, said that it has also decided to keep ECOWAS doors open, requesting member nations to continue to accord the three countries privileges of membership, including free movement within the region with an ECOWAS passport. The 15-nation regional bloc economic community of West African states was established in 1975 with one goal: to promote cooperation and integration in order to raise the living standards of its people and to maintain and enhance economic stability. Now, you might also want to note that ECOWAS will be 50 years come May 2025. Now, just a few months ahead of ECOWAS's 50th year anniversary, we're seeing three states within the bloc exiting. And finally, ECOWAS appears to have given up on its negotiations or on its strides to ensure that these three states, talking about Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, remain within the bloc. Now, Mr. Abdullahi, how does this news come for you this Wednesday morning?
Not a surprise at all. 50 years is enough. We need to sit back, backtrack, and review what progress has been made within the 50 years of this cooperation. Have we made any progress? Is there any real need for us to remain? Should we relook the agreements? I think it's only right that we do that. At 50, it's not out of place for someone to take a decision based on what he thinks is right for his well-being. These three leaders have decided on what they think is best for their countries, and we cannot judge them wrong or right. Even though it's also good to remain together, but what has that brought to the table? Really, we know that the regions have been unstable. We know that progress, not much progress, has been made in terms of economic gains within the regions. Even though we had free borders to trade and do what carry out some businesses. Of the truth, how much have we done? We also understand that the major issue there is political.
Yeah.
And if you do not have a leader who is foresighted, has a foresight, this is bound to happen. I do not know why it's happening at a time when the Nigerian president is overseeing ECOWAS. I do not know why it's happening at this time. Why it didn't happen when others were at the helm of affairs. It also speaks volumes about our foreign policy, about our negotiation skills. And I tell you what, come back home, you realize that such lack of intelligence around political issues is also affecting us in-house.
Now, Mr. Abdullahi,
I'm happy that these countries have decided to take their future in their hands, understanding that the approach that their regional leader had when they had an issue was the wrong one. Cut off the lights, close the borders, do this, do that. in diplomacy, you have to allow things work the way they should work. The region is not a country like Nigeria. The region is not a state like Lagos. It goes beyond that. We're waiting to watch. Even though I've heard that in the few months that they have left, some of the states have made some gains. And look at the change that is coming from the US. I think we are better off being on our own until we resolve our issues. We cannot run like this. I cannot continue to be muzzled or treated like a small child. I remember when Togo had a problem, and they came to see Obasanjo here in Abuja. I remember when Faure came after the demise of his father, and Obasanjo had a way of brokering peace in Togo. I think we need a more intelligent person to oversee the region.
Mr. Abdullahi, now in your comments, it also tallies with the fact that ECOWAS, since its inception, has been able to position itself as the West African region's top political authority. Meddling into the affairs of other nations and solving domestic challenges on various fronts, from politics to the economy, much like we saw in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, with regards to the ECOMOG and all of that. Now, some people or some countries believe that ECOWAS is fast losing goodwill and support from West African states, who see it as failing to represent their interest in a region where citizens have complained of not benefiting from rich natural resources in their country. Is this right? Is ECOWAS losing its relevance? And 50 years after, do we still think that ECOWAS would or might survive yet another 50 years to come?
Well, you can see it from what is happening today, the body language of the 3 states that have left, and many other states that do not believe in what's happening in the region. I think we just need to relook the arrangements. Our times have changed. We need to just relook the arrangement, and then also question the presence of some world powers in these regions. China is heavily dominant in Niger. Russia is heavily dominant in Burkina Faso. What is their interest? Many other countries from Europe are found lurking around states within the region who are there for their own benefit. It behoves on the leaders now to sit down and ask if the goal for which ECOWAS came together has been achieved, and we need to now revisit them and come up with another strategy. Yes, at some point they were relevant with regards to stabilizing the region, with what happened in Sierra Leone or Liberia, which shouldn't have happened in the first place if ECOWAS was active. That shouldn't have even been allowed to happen. Now, the leaders, the group of leaders we have in the region, in the sub-region, are such that we need to also ask questions if they have the interest of their people at heart. If they do, I am sure they would have relooked the arrangement by now, and the region would have made progress. Now, Africa has been dormant. Things have happened, especially around the Sudan, the Horn of Africa. Hunger is there, banditry, a lot of things have happened around Africa that you expect ECOWAS to come and salvage the situation. But then that has not happened. I think it's good for ECOWAS that this is happening. We have our differences that we cannot understand ourselves. Anglophone and Francophone, we still have that
disparity.
That divide, yes. And I think until we relook our relationship, it's good that we test this and see what will come up, will happen.
Well, this is a quite historic moment for the economic community of West African states, and historic moment for the coalition of Sahel states, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. And perhaps we might just say that we wish them well in their future endeavors dealing with other countries out there. Yes. Now back to the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Abdullahi. We have just about less than 20 minutes to wrap up this conversation on the program. Let's talk about the Edo post-gubernatorial Election Petition Tribunal, which has recently been moved from, Edo State to the Federal Capital Territory.
Yeah.
Now, one major, bottleneck that tribunal has been facing has been coming from the People's Democratic Party, where the PDP has accused the tribunal of irregularities in dealing with the issue. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's not surprising. I told somebody last week or so when the tribunal was being attacked by Goodness that I am sure it was going to move to Abuja, just like the Kogi state and many other states where there was violence. You see, when justice is denied, you should expect anything. When people are not happy with the system, you should expect anything. We should have grown beyond this in this country. However, this is what we bargained for. Unless you have a system that is people-centered, a system that people do have faith in, these challenges will continue to happen. I do not expect anything different. Just as I said earlier in my discussion, that people are now grabbing power. They are there to grab power, and they will not suffer anything to do that. When people lose their sense of thinking, this is what you should expect. PDP feels grossly denied of making their facts, presenting their facts, as it is. And they know that even if they present the facts, drawing from what happened in Kogi and other states, they do not have a chance of escaping through this. Gone are the days when we see the courts and the tribunals going, favoring both parties in power and those that seem to be non-existent. These days it is one way. So I do not know what would happen. But then I know that Nigerians are angry, Nigerians are not happy, and what you see is just a reaction of how people feel deep in them. And many people have stopped following, because they know they think that they know what to expect, that justice will never, ever prevail. Because now we're using technicalities. And just think of the Plateau State Court case, where many senators, House of Representatives, House of Assembly members lost their seats on a case that behind court, that the court didn't have jurisdiction over. And nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. If NJI had penalized those that did that and reversed what has happened, then we would say we are expectant of something positive. But as it is right now, we wait to see a confirmation of the victory of the APC government. That's it.
Well, you seem quite optimistic about the formation of the APC's Senator Monday Okwebolo as the rightful winner of the off-circle gubernatorial polls in Edo State.
Nothing will change that. Nothing will change that. Nothing will change that.
I that PDP is, or members of the PDP, supporters of the PDP, share a different notion. I mean, why go to tribunal when you are certain that you would, or the votes, the results have been overturned? That is the major question here.
Well, Nigerians will not give up and allow injustices to prevail. We can't give up. Nigerians will always try their luck. Let me use that word. They'll always try their luck. There's a system in place, and we will explore every system at every point in time. We'll give it the opportunity. If Governor Khaled Mutua had given up, just as he was advised when all these guys lost out in the appellate court, if he had given up, today it would have been a different story. But he was tenacious and went on to the Supreme Court. Therefore, since those options are there, there's no harm in giving it a try. It will be on record. And someday, history will prevail that this and this and this happened. Today in Plateau State, we still remember the case between Chief Solomon Lam and J.J. Katia, who became the first FCT minister. And, after he died, years after he died, there was a judgment in his favor that he indeed won the Plateau State elections. So history is there, and so, yes, we will try our luck. We are hopeful that something will change, that the judiciary will see the need to redeem their image. They are on trial right now. Nigerians have lost confidence in them. But then, it doesn't mean that we will not keep trying our luck. Hopefully, we will win.
Well, as many will say, politics is not a game of luck, but a game of calculations. Let's hope that the PDP, that the PDP punches its calculator well to ensure that ahead of 2027, it's not swept completely off the Nigerians or Nigeria's political space. Now, the People's Democratic Party has always been accused of recent times of always crying foul, especially since being ousted from power or being moved away from the corridors of power at the national level for quite some time. Recently, we saw former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar coming out to claim or allege that the APC is giving these moles that you mentioned in the PDP 50 million naira each to destabilize the party. How true is this statement? And should we really believe the former vice president, or is this yet another statement out of frustration?
This statement is coming from a very respectable Nigerian. I am sure he will not go to the press if he doesn't have his facts. Maybe he's keeping them in his pocket for the right time.
Okay.
He just threw a statement which all Nigerians, every Nigerian knows that happened. It happens. Yes, again, I must say that the opposition is there to play their role effectively, and one of the ways they play their role is to try to checkmate the excesses of the ruling party. When PDP was in power, all the other parties had been crying foul. We've heard a lot from them, and probably that's why Nigerians said, "Okay, let's give them a try. Let's give them a try," and then we can see now where they have taken us to. You need an opposition to keep government in check. Even with the opposition, we can see where we're headed to. That government wakes up in the morning and decides to increase tariffs. That government wakes up in the morning and decides to remove subsidies and just increase the cost of fuel abruptly, which hurts the economy, which destabilizes the economy. It tells you again the level of understanding that the economics of governance is lacking with this government. Unless you have an opposition that speaks for the masses, I tell you what, we will pay more than what it costs to import, produce, sell the fuel that we're buying. And just as it is right now. Because if somebody was not speaking on our behalf, the rot that you will see in the system will be more than that. Largely because the National Assembly is also dormant. The National Assembly, remember, is now made up a majority of the opposition of the ruling party, who themselves are helpless, and so are looking for a way of getting validation and approval from the president, so that they can either retain their seats or get other juicy appointments. When they leave. But the opposition must be organized and be seen to checkmate the excesses of government, because unless they do that, a senseless government, a government that does not understand the practicality of governance, will run the entire government. Right now, as I speak, I live in light camp. I haven't seen light for the past 3 or 4 days. I heard that in my town there hasn't been light for 2 weeks. Utako Market, I called my tailor to ask him for my clothes again, which I was supposed to pick a week ago, and he kept lamenting that he couldn't do anything, any business, because there hasn't been light. And nobody is speaking for Nigerians. Rather, monies are being shared across people who will rather take their time to destabilize the country than to work in the interest of the growth of the economy.
Mr. Abdullahi,
that is quite unfortunate.
Let's still talk about the PDP and its woes. Now, at the national level, we have the trouble with Damagum, which appears to have stemmed down a little bit, but still not fully resolved. And then we have the Okoye slash Anyanwu situation with regards to the national, who becomes the national secretary. And on the sidelines, we have the issue between the FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike and the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara, and also Wike and the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Mohammed, where we saw former Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara coming out to cite that Wike bankrolled Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed's candidacy when he ran for office. With all of these indices, all of these troubles, battling or bedeviling the People's Democratic Party, do you still feel like the PDP has a chance ahead of 2027? If the party cannot stand united right from now?
They do. They do have a chance because Nigerians are watching, and I think Nigerians are getting tired of the drama. I think are not taking their rightful positions. River State is gradually coming down. It is quite unfortunate that a son of the soil would want to see his state being in this state of disrepair. It's sad. It's unfortunate. And I tell you what, the River people are worried and are tired of it. And I can tell that in a short time, in a short while, the truth will be revealed. And I hope that PDP will be the better for it. Now, you see, just as I said earlier in my statement, there is a law in the House working for the ruling party. That is why the Bauchi State Governor is on the fire, because he has been speaking against the ruling party, being the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. He had a lot to say, and certainly, you know that the APC will not sit down and watch. And unfortunately, the spokesman, is the man benefiting today as the SVT minister. You should expect a lot more drama with him, because he is being touted, he's being seen as the spoiler, as one who has the capacity. They think he has the monopoly, so he is there and he is playing his game very well at the moment. We do not know how long it will last, but yes, there are issues, and every party has its own issues too. The APC have their own issues too. So when you start enumerating the issues of the PDP, don't forget that the Labour Party has also had a lot of issues. They've been in and out of court. It's getting to a point where, even though it seems they're giving up, they're still holding on. And they've lost many members because of these internal wranglings.
Yeah.
APC just managed to stay. APC is staying on largely because the person in power is doing everything possible to keep the party. Right now, as you know, they have all been giving appointments. We do not know what will happen in the coming days. Whether there will be a shift, there will be a change in the entire structure, as is being insinuated that the structure will now be a tunable structure. So these are all part of the gimmicks to ensure that they remain in power. PDP might, I cannot say of a truth that they will come back in their full strength. As I said earlier, we might just need to rethink, start coming up with a task force that might work. We thought the Labour Party was going to be that task force, but then it seems again that the role of the Labour Party is bigger than what we think. So yes, these issues will fizzle out with time naturally, and new ones will come up, just as the Bauchi State government are now coming into limelight. People, certainly, even weekend campaigns were backrolled by somebody. So at any point in time, somebody will be there to do the needful, to get you there. But he should remember that he has a limit to which he can control you. You cannot become a god, a demigod in this entire thing. You are the FCT minister, you are the governor of the river, you want to be the governor of Bauchi, you want to be the governor of, because you put them there. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Only God is omnipotent. Only God is omniscient. He's everywhere. You cannot be everywhere. And we watch and see what will play out. But I pray and hope that the meeting today in PDP, taking out, removing our personal interest, something positive will happen with regards to the issue of the secretary of the party and the chairman. Remember, wherever Wike is, there must be problems. I see Wike supporting Damagu, so I do not know what the interest is. You're working for APC and then you are here holding on to the party chairman. That is dangerous. That is deadly.
Yeah, carry on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, your final thoughts before we let you go. We have just about 2 minutes. The All Progressives Congress has made a recent statement about former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, citing that his political desperation is responsible for the People's Democratic Party's catastrophic disintegration at the moment. Now, being one of the major leaders, or even the biggest political, officer within the People's Democratic Party, and on the other hand, being one of the persons that were instrumental to the emergence of APC in Nigeria. Is Atiku's political ambition really the cause of people's or the cause of PDP's political woes and disintegration at the moment? In just a few minutes.
Thank you very much. Of the truth, there was a problem. Of the truth, there was a misunderstanding. Of the truth, our personal interest came into the space and created some problems. There was a gentleman agreement where we expect power to be shifted to be, between the north and the south. And I do not see anything wrong with that arrangement. It was an arrangement that was there from before. The arrangement can change because it's not written, it's not cut on stone. Yes, there was a mistake. But then I do not think that we should sink the house because we are agreed. I think we should come back to the drawing board. The River State governor felt it was time for the South, and that was why he said he supported Tinubu from another party. Now he holds strongly to that arrangement. He takes that arrangement as more sacrosanct than even the party constitution, the party that he believes in. So he decided on his own what he wants, and he's all right for it. Atiku again feels that it was his turn to take a shot of the presidency, and he felt that he was the most competent. Yes, I know good River State governor put in a lot of money. I knew that PDP secretary go to River. We did a lot for the party. Yes, he came and met Atiku Abubakar and others who were the foundation of the party. I think they only needed to sit down and agree on something. Their risk is the major reason why PDP is where it is today. And I'm hopeful that with time will heal all of this. We're not happy that this is happening.
Well,
yes, Atiku has a large chunk of the blame, but then I think this should not be the reason why I, a lover of my own, will sink the entire home. That is wrong.
Well, quite optimistic takes that you have there, Mr. Abdullahi, but I must thank you so much. It's been a very wonderful conversation with you here on the program, and hopefully at the end of today, we will have resolutions from the PDP's BOT meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and I wish Nigeria well.
Thank you. Well, that has been Abdullahi Yusuf Sale, who is a development consultant, lending his thoughts to the issues of the internal crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, with a scheduled Board of Trustees meeting much later today. Nigerians, PDP supporters, and, political observers will be looking to find out what these resolutions are at the end of the day. Well, this is as much what we can take on this particular segment of Morning Express. We'll take a break. When we come back at the top of the hour, Samuel Adeleke will be in the studio to take us through ADBN Sports with the latest stories from the sporting world. Do well to stay with us.